Hello, Mustang football fans, and welcome to this week's edition of the Corey Sauter Show here at Studio One, Marshall Cable Access, and SMSUMustangs.com. We appreciate you joining this week as we talk Mustang football with the head coach of the Mustangs, Corey Sauter. SMSU coming off an impressive road win at Wayne State University. We'll talk all about that game, and we'll take a look at the highlights and preview this week's big game versus the Minnesota State University Mavericks. That's all coming up on this week's show. And Coach, what a week for Mustang football. We first want to apologize. We had some technical difficulties last week. That's why we didn't have the show, but we're back and better than ever today. And tell you what, Coach, an unbelievable road win for your guys. It doesn't matter who you're playing, the opponent, how good, bad they are. Any road win in the conference is huge. And you go down to Wayne State and just for the third time in school history, win at Wayne 55-16. Overall great team effort.
It sure was. You know, since I've been here, probably our most complete ball game, our most dominant ball game. Guys played extremely well, really in all three phases, and this was, really the outcome of that effort. And I wasn't sure how we were going to respond coming off of two really tough losses. I mean, anytime you have a heartbreaking loss, it's tough to swallow. But when you have two of them back to back, you're just not sure how your kids are going to respond. And to their credit, they came out playing, and we got off to a fast start. And that's something that we always preach, but we really haven't been able to do this season, and it really helped us overall as an entire ball club.
Well, obviously 55 points by the Mustang offense, but probably more impressive, 16 points allowed by the Mustang defense. And no secret, the last couple of weeks opponents have put a lot of points up on the board, and two very close losses, but for them to come out, force 3 turnovers, get a pick 6, limit Wayne to 16 points and only just 300 plus yards, despite the fact they ran almost 90 plays. Great job by that Mustang defense.
What a great effort. I mean, a resilient group. They could have easily looked at themselves as, we're not getting the job done, make excuses, whatever. But to our defense credit, Coach Gunther put together a really nice game plan. The guys really bought in. The guys practiced well all week long, and ultimately they came out and played, and they came up with some really, really critical turnovers to help us out. With the pick 6, AJ setting us up with a possession right before the half where we were able to capitalize and score. McReynolds coming up with an interception to stop a drive. So those are some big time plays for our team, and ultimately helped us win the ball game.
Some interesting numbers. Obviously, the Mustangs, a high-powered offense all season long. You average nearly 90 plays per game. You only can run 68 because you've scored probably pretty quick. Kind of a complete number is different than normal. Wayne State goes 86 plays, but in the time of possession, 38-21 advantage for Wayne State. You don't see that very often, but you were able to sustain some drives that you needed, and were opportunistic, as you mentioned. You get a turnover late in the first half and able to punch it in, and some other turnovers. They try to fake a punt, you stop it there. But just great to see, and kind of shows that the offense can do it even if you don't run 90 plays a game.
Well, it's all about scoring points. That's the most important stat as an offense, and if you don't score points, it's going to be hard to win in this conference. I always remember Coach Sumlin always mentioned that time of possession is probably one of the worst stat out there. You could care less about what the time of possession is. It's what you do with the time that you do have it. And we were very, very efficient. We mixed our runs and passes extremely well. When you look at us, we were very balanced. We didn't take a ton of risks. We were able to avoid a lot of sacks. Charlie played extremely well offensive line-wise. Those guys created some lanes, created some holes, but it was just very efficient. If I could just describe the game, very efficient. We didn't do anything to hurt ourselves. Penalties, we were very minimal in the penalty department. So I thought it was just one of those games where we came out, we did our thing, we executed our offensive, defensive, and special teams game plan, and everything kind of worked our way. And it's definitely felt good to have a game like that, because we needed it, to be honest with you. We needed to have a breakout game, and this was a great weekend to do it.
Yes, it was. Some of the numbers: Southwest 501 total yards of offense in the game. Individual numbers: Tyler Tondrum 119 yards rushing and a touchdown on 17 carries. He maintains his top ranking in Division II for rushing yardage. Anthony Dean, another big game, receiving 7 catches, 125 and 2 touchdowns. And as Coach mentioned, Charlie Kern, very efficient, 26 of 31 passing, 289 and 4 touchdowns. And you kind of go as your quarterback goes, Coach. And here's a guy that continues to play at a high level, distributing the football, doing what he needs to do, and just kind of a great example of biding his time, redshirted, sat behind Tyler Pashon the last couple of years, but really taking advantage of his opportunity. And you could just see him growing each particular game at that leadership role.
Yeah, well, playing quarterback, at Southwest is something that we've had a lot of success over the years, and we want to continue that. And so, because of that, you got to definitely take your time building into this thing, because we're not just going to throw anybody out there. We want to make sure the guy is ready. Charlie has definitely put his time in. He accounted for 6 touchdowns. 4 passing, 2 rushing, and one of the best things I think he did in this past game was just, when things weren't there, he wasn't afraid to just go ahead and tuck it or throw it away and not give up a cheap interception, versus a very good defense. So I just thought he just managed the game really, really well, but he also made plays, and you put those two things together, you're going to have a pretty successful evening, and he did just that. But you'll see on the clips here once we get to him, he made a throw on the post that was pretty amazing. I was almost had goosebumps watching it as it happened, and so he's really playing well. Our guys are staying healthy, very cohesive group, and hopefully we can continue that now in the second half of the season.
One thing that we talked about some of these skill guys, and talking to Tyler Pashon actually on Saturday night, he texted and just goes, those guys are playing at a high level, but those 5 guys up front are just doing an unbelievable job. The offensive line, I can't give them enough credit. You mentioned, obviously, they were veterans, fifth-year players, but those guys probably don't deserve enough credit, because they're just giving Charlie enough time to throw the football and opening up big lanes for Tondrum running the ball.
Yeah, I mean, they're just playing so well. We do take them for granted at times, just because it's becoming a normal thing for us. We're so used to having great production in the run game, great protection. It's almost like that's how it's supposed to be. But when we put it in our second group, towards the end of the game, you could see things weren't clicking as well. And so you find out in a hurry, those guys, those starters are pretty special, and we've got to get our second group playing up to that level sooner than later, because at some point their time is going to be coming here in the near future. So, but we're all plugging away. We're all trying to improve. We've done some good things, but that hunger level is what's allowed us to continue to develop and grow. Especially these last 2 weeks, we've had success, but we haven't had that final stat that we're all looking for, and that's the W, and we're finally able to do that. What a great feeling for our guys. I'm really happy for them, and we gave them Victory Sunday, so our first Victory Sunday, much needed, gave them the time to just really relax and enjoy before we get into the second half of the season.
Well, again, the Mustangs, the big win, 55 points, 55-16 over Wayne State. Should also mention a record-setting day for Tyler Tondrum, 119 yards, as we mentioned, in the game. He becomes SMSU's single-season record holder now for rushing yards, passing Shade Peckinpah, who had a big season in 1985, and a pretty special number to do that in 6 games, and still half the season left. An impressive number for Tyler, and he continues to, despite only 17 rushes, still had some big numbers, and even your backups, Shawnee Payne, Caleb Burns, all got in the act, and just overall a really balanced attack, as you mentioned.
Yeah, it was a balanced attack. That was really our plan going in, because they're pretty good at rushing the quarterback, putting pressure on him, and so we knew we had to get some type of run game going. We mixed up enough play action and 3-step in there to just keep them off balance. But as you mentioned, just the running attack. 1, we've got some special backs. 2, we've got a great offensive line. 3, we're staying healthy, and 4, everyone else is doing their jobs as well. So it really makes it tough to stop when everyone's doing their job.
Well, it was an impressive effort, again, as we mentioned, for the Mustangs defensively. Andrew McReynolds had 7 solo tackles in a game, had an interception. A.J. Page, excuse me, who led the conference in tackles for loss and sacks, he had 6 tackles, had an interception, and Deshaun Miller with an interception returned for a touchdown. He missed last week's game versus Sioux Falls, but back in the mix, he has 6 tackles and an interception for a touchdown. We'll take a look at those highlights here shortly. And again, it was a big win for the Mustangs against the Cats. And let's take a look at those highlights, Coach, and start off opening drive for the Mustangs. Kern to Dean for 19 yards.
Yeah, this was actually the first play of the game. Nice way to start it out. Dean catches the football, breaks a tackle, gets upfield. Nice way to start the game.
Mustangs closed the drive, a 26-yard touchdown pass, Kern to Condon.
Yeah, and this was actually on 4th and 1. We were kind of in that no man's land where we weren't sure if we should, kick it or what, but we decided to go for it. You can see good protection. Kern throws the ball up and over the top. What a great play to get us started in the ball game.
Yeah, big play and a perfect pass by Kern to Condon. Mustangs lead 7-0. Big third down stop here by the defense, Bobowitz and Miller. In the middle.
Yeah, and this has been a big part of the game was we were able to get some stops on third down and short yard situations, get some negative yardage plays. But this is just a great example of guys getting off blocks, swarming to the football, making plays.
Game tied at 7. Mustangs take the lead. Charlie Kern breaks away out of the pocket and scores from 11 yards.
Yeah, and here actually Wayne covers our passing concept extremely well. And this is one of those examples I was talking about is Charlie just didn't throw one up here and throw it into double coverage. He actually pulls it down, takes off running. He's got great speed and mobility and is able to get a touchdown for us.
So the Mustangs take a 14-7 lead. Later on in the first quarter, deep in their own end, 26-yard run by Tondrum.
Yep, Tondrum ends up breaking a tackle, keeps his feet moving and gets to the outside. We've seen plenty of these this year, but you can see Theo pulling around and Tondrum bouncing to the outside. Dean getting a nice block on the perimeter, getting a nice 26-yard gain.
This one nearly broke for a touchdown, 39-yarder. We've seen this before.
Yeah, very, very close to breaking it. Kid had a slight angle on him, but as you can see this play, Wickett and Kirka make some really, really nice blocks to create that lane for Dean, and once he gets going, he's a tough guy to catch.
Mustangs take the lead now 21-7 as Kern connects with Jordan Cross for the touchdown, top of the screen.
Yep, top of the screen. We throw a slant inside here, and the nice thing is we were 5 for 5 in the red zone, and all of them were touchdowns, and that makes a big difference. If you're not settling for field goals all the time or not getting points, that can kill you, but we were 5 for 5 in the red zone. We got to keep that up to be competitive down the stretch.
Big defensive stop here by Marshall native Nate Werner here on third down.
Yep, Nate comes underneath the block of their offensive lineman for a big tackle for loss, and athletic kid, big kid, is able to play underneath it and make a nice play for us.
Continue with the defense. A.J. Page, we mentioned his big season ago, and big number 5 here with the tackle.
Yep, they've got an option play here to the left, and A.J. does a nice job of slow playing it. He actually plays the back and then redirects himself to make the tackle on the QB. So really an athletic play. He's playing so well this year, and hopefully we can continue that as we go down the road.
Mentioned Miller missed last week's game with an injury, but came in here and had 6 tackles, and number 31 with the tackle to stop this drive for the Cats.
Yeah, Deshaun had a nice game. Tremendous effort and swarm really by the entire defense. They're doing a nice job getting to the ball carrier, redirecting, pursuing to the football, and making nice tackles.
Mustangs led 21-10 going late here in the second quarter, but they strike quickly here with a couple of big runs. Here's a big one by Tondrum.
Yep, here Tondrum ends up having a nice cutback. He cuts back to his right and gets to the perimeter and very close to breaking it, actually. And, again, that's Tondrum being Tondrum right now.
Mustangs take advantage of a personal foul on the Cats, and a couple of plays later, Tondrum breaks free for an 11-yard run.
And here Tondrum gets to the outside, extends the ball over the pylon. Great effort. But, again, it all starts up front, getting good blocks, and then he just uses his speed and power to get to the end zone.
That made the score 27-10. Late in the half, Cats trying to come back and mount a rally to cut into it, but A.J. Page, great interception.
Talk about a big play, and just sets us up with great field position, sets us up potentially to have great momentum going into halftime. pulls it down. I don't know if he wasn't sure exactly what to do with it once he caught it, but he got those big legs rolling and created a huge play for us.
And Mustangs, just with 27 seconds on the clock, get down into the red zone, and Kern, beautiful pass to Dean.
Yep, we ended up getting a one-on-one situation with their corner. It's a jump ball, and Dean came down with it. He's done that really all season.
Yeah, so the Mustangs with a big first half, and they take a 34 to 10 halftime lead, and we talk about it all the time. Getting some points late in the half could be such a momentum builder, and I tell you what, you look at the late touchdown, the interception, that's a double whammy for Wayne State, and not only do you get some points, you get a touchdown as well. You had to be real confident going into half up by 24.
Well, things were going our way, and it was one of those games where, it was kind of one of those flawless things. What we had planned happened. Guys were in position to make certain plays, and they did make those plays. And it was just fun to watch. Because they really put their heart and soul in this thing. It meant a lot to our kids, and I just couldn't be happier for them because they just been through a lot over these last couple weeks.
Yeah, and of course, again, the Mustangs up big at halftime, but it's important to get a good start on the second half. Both teams exchanged punts in the opening half, but you'll see the big highlight here as we start off our second half highlights is the Mustangs do it defensively with Deshaun Miller. Again, this is the second possession for the Cats here in the third quarter.
Right, and you'll see A.J. Page really applying the pressure coming off the right edge here, getting in the quarterback's face. He gets those big long arms in his face, and anytime you can get a defensive score, you know things are going well for you. But that's a huge play. I mean, that extends our lead, really gets us going, and we really didn't look back after this play.
So big second defensive touchdown for an interception this year for the Mustangs, and then after a fake punt failed for the Cats, Mustangs one play quickly. Beautiful pass, Kern to Dean.
Yeah, one of Charlie's best throws of the season. Up and over the top, play action. Couldn't have thrown it better. I mean, up and over the safety, and Dean uses his speed to go run for it, and I tell you what, I was pretty pumped up after that play.
Beautiful pass by the Mustangs. They had plenty of time to keep Kern, protection, touchdown Mustangs. Now the defense, third interception, McReynolds with the INT.
And again, Wayne State was driving. They were moving the ball down the field, and Drew plays it perfectly, playing a cover two type of look, playing underneath that receiver. Quarterback throws it underneath, and Drew goes up and jumps for it and makes a big interception for us.
Well, the Mustangs now able to play some number twos and whatnot. Here's Ashanti Payne, a freshman with a big run, 26 yards.
Yeah, with Tondrum out, definitely gave us some opportunities to get Burns and Ashanti Payne some work, and you can see he's an explosive back. He's able to make some big plays for us, and he'll be around for a while, so we're excited for him.
Mustangs close out the scoring a 2-yard touchdown run by Charlie Kern on the right side.
Yep, great surge by the offensive line. We were able to cap off the drive and really put the pressure on them, and we were able to get to the line of scrimmage quickly and punch it in for a touchdown.
We saw one true freshman in Payne. Here's a couple of more, Dalen Finley and Rakeem Felder with some tackles for the Mustangs.
Yep, here Finley comes off the edge. Not the biggest guy, but he does have some really good skills, and ends up wrapping his ankles and making a nice tackle off the edge.
And the freshman, Rakeem Felder here, Cats trying to score late in the final minute, comes through and rips down the quarterback.
Right. Again, another true freshman, uses his speed and athletic ability to make this play, but that's what we're looking for, guys to step up, make plays. When your name's called to play, you got to do it. And there is no other option, right? So I thought those guys did a nice job stepping in, in those circumstances, and you just can't get enough of those reps in a true ball game.
Yeah, and of course some other numbers. Mustang special team wise did have a missed PAT, but the punting game was pretty solid. Had a couple inside the 20-yard line, and as you mentioned, a complete effort, and that's what it takes to win on the road. And the guys did that. And Mike Wenk with some beautiful punts, and the kick return crew. I mean, it just needed to do certain things to set yourself up offensively and defensively, and special teams did that as well.
They sure did, and we were able to cover kickoffs extremely well. We didn't have any breakdowns there. We were able to keep things bottled up, stop them near the 20-yard line. That's huge. I mean, anytime you force a team to have to drive 80 yards is only going to play to your your advantage. And also too, we had some close ones on the punt, as far as getting one almost on the 1 yard line. Mike had a very, very nice punt that just barely rolled in, but that was a long punt that we're so close. But I thought we definitely stepped up our game in that department, and we stepped up our game in the defensive department. Offensively, we stepped up our game. We played our best game in that department. So when you do all 3 phases well, you're going to have these types of outcomes. And like I said, since I've been here, probably our just most complete ball game, just all 3 phases against a quality opponent on the road. I couldn't be happier for those guys. And now we get to play another great opponent, coming up here next week. So we'll talk about that, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was a great win for the Mustangs, their 2nd straight over the Wildcats, who had a winning streak of 7 straight wins over the Mustangs, but Southwest winning back-to-back games now against the Wildcats. Again, a team that made the playoffs a couple of years ago. The Wildcats did. Last week beat Augustana on the road, so the Mustangs go to Wayne and get the big victory. And as Coach mentioned, you're excited about the victory. You get to 3-3 overall in the season, and 1-1 in division play. And what a challenge, an exciting challenge coming up this weekend. For the first time from our records, program history, the #1 team in the country is coming to Marshall. Minnesota State undefeated last year, the semifinalists in Division II football. They just went to #1 on Monday, and they're coming to the Schwann Regional Event Center. And not only are you excited about a win, Coach, you've got some momentum that way, but if you can't get up for this one, a chance to make program history and to basically, shock Division II football. Last week the #1 Valdosta State went down, and now Minnesota State comes in, and what a challenge it's going to be against a team statistically some of the best defense in the country. They've got a great offense as well, and you look back at last year's game, revenge, there's a lot on the plate coming up. Again, last year the Mavericks beat SMSU in double overtime.
Well, as you mentioned, I shouldn't have to say one word to our team. On the bus trip back from Wayne, our guys are already talking about this opportunity. They were excited to get back to work. I know our coaching staff was excited to get back to the office and start watching film. We just got done watching some film, and they're as good as advertised. They're pretty good, and so we'll have our hands full. The good thing is we're fairly healthy, and we're playing pretty well. We're coming off a nice win where we have some confidence, and we're going to have a few things go our way, and there's no question about that. We had a great battle last year against them, so I feel good. I really do. I think the other factor is just playing at home, getting the community of Marshall behind this thing, getting everybody do their part. Players got to do their part, coaches got to do their part, our fans got to do their part, and we have a chance to do something special. And you don't get that all the time. And so I think the motivation part will be a non-factor. We'll be ready to go. Bottom line will become those battles, those one-on-one battles over the course of the ball game. Who's going to hold up? Who's going to execute? Who's going to make a mistake? All those things are going to play into the final outcome. And but you know what? I like our chances. I really do. I like the way our guys are playing right now, and We'll see what happens on Saturday.
Well, 6 o'clock is the kickoff at the Schwann Regional Event Center. Not only is it a big game for the Mustang football program, but also a special night, Coach, throughout the state of Minnesota. The Randy Shaver Foundation tackle cancer program that's a lot of high schools and colleges are doing throughout the state and throughout the entire season, and that's going to be on Saturday night, Coach. Kind of talk about what that program is all about and what people can do coming to the game on Saturday night.
Right. Well, as you mentioned, everybody in the state of Minnesota, high school-wise, college-wise, I think the Vikings, the Gophers, they're all involved with this tackle cancer, and you get to select a weekend, a game that you want to feature this type of cause. And so this is going to be our tackle cancer game. What we'll do is we'll have a table set up for donations that we'll accept. All of it goes to the Tackle Cancer Foundation. We will also have T-shirts available. So if you donate $10 or more, they will end up getting a T-shirt as well while supplies last. And it's a pretty nice T-shirt. It's a black with pink and you name it. It's pretty sharp looking. But all of that, we would definitely appreciate your support in that cause. Randy Shaver has been doing this for a while now, as far as just cancer research funding. He's had to beat it himself, and so what a great cause. And this is something that everyone in the state of Minnesota is really rallying around, and what a great way to give back to such a great cause.
Yeah, more information you can find it at SMSUmustangs.com. Again, 6 o'clock, the kickoff at the Schwann Regional Event Center versus Minnesota State. Last year, Minnesota Duluth came in number 2 in the country, and that was a great game. And now the Mavericks coming in number 1 in Division II, undefeated, 6-0. The Mustangs at 3-3, and should be a great ball game at the stadium. We encourage you all to come on out, get there early, tailgate, have a great time, and cheer on the Mustangs as they try to knock off the top team in Division II. For the head coach, Corey Sauter, I'm Kelly Loft. Thanks for watching this week's edition of the Corey Sauter Show here at Marshall Cable Access, Studio 1, and online at SMSUmustangs.com. Until next time, remember, cheer on the Mustangs, follow along at SMSUmustangs.com, and watch us here next week as we look back at the game versus Minnesota State Mankato. Thanks for watching. Until next time, go Mustangs.